Hello, my name is John Brown. I'm a creative coder, a technologist, a digital artist in Portland, Oregon, and I do a lot of talking either at conferences or one-on-one about the power of creative coding. It's a way to break out of your day-to-day routine and try something new and interesting, not having to worry about failing and creating something fun. A lot of people that I talk to have similar questions, and one of the questions that I get most often is, how do I get started, or what's sort of the how do I start walking down the path of making something interesting? And I address this every now and then when I'm giving a talk like this, and expand on it. So something I found a couple weeks or a couple months ago was this spinning dodecahedron by Jonathan Hooker. I loved it. It was really cool. I wanted it to do more, so I spent a couple hours with it. I got it to do this. It's connected to some data that I'll talk about in a sec, but I just wanted to expand upon it. That's the thing about being an artist, is that sometimes a blank canvas is the most terrifying thing possible. You look at it and you don't know where to go. So having one thing that you think is interesting and then using it as a jumping off point is such a great way to create. And sometimes you learn cool math stuff, which I do a lot going through CodePen. So it's all well and good to just say, have a starting off point and go from it. But I wanted to show people that are just getting started with creative coding what that's going to look like. So I'm going to show you a really quick, let's just say, call it a sketch that I made today just for this project. So I started with this inspiration of this Patakk. I've never said it out loud. This Patakk animation. I love Tumblr and I love the animations that are on there because a lot of them are very simple and they're geometric, and that's really my style. So find something that you enjoy and use that as inspiration or as a jumping off point. So in the conference talk, I often say go to GitHub, or I'm sorry, go to CodePen, fork something that you think is really neat, and then go from there. But we're gonna start from a blank canvas, but we're going to use this animation as a jumping off point. So we're not going to try and recreate this exactly. We're going to use it just to guide us and sort of have an idea in mind as to where we're going. That's one of the key tenets that I adhere to when I'm doing creative coding is don't have a destination in mind. Let the programming be expressive. Let the problem be a prescriptive one, and just have fun with it. So I'm going to show you, it's about a 30-minute long exercise, a 30-minute long sketch, sped up, and I'll walk you through it. So let's get started. Hope you enjoy. So we go from the animation, we start getting our environment ready. This is a very simple canvas. I like to do my stuff in straight canvas, and I like to set things up by hand instead of using some framework or a code snippet because I think of it as a warm-up and gets me connected to what I'm doing. And because when I'm setting up this animation loop, I always just do something in there really quickly just to make sure everything is working and everything is looping and there's an animation going on. Every now and then when I'm doing this, I actually come across something interesting, and that actually happened here. So I just threw on these random rectangles against this black background, just had them animate, and I was just messing around with the width of it, and all of a sudden this idea started to emerge. This is obviously nothing like what we were looking at in the animation, but I really enjoyed it, and I started to sort of think about it and look at it and see how can I expand on this. And that's a great thing about creative coding is you're going to have a lot of these, as Bob Ross would say, happy accidents. So this is me just going through here, and I'm just messing around with this a little bit, and it'll start speeding up here again. I ended up segmenting this into 3 different areas and coloring them red, green, blue. Again, just for fun. I just enjoyed it. So there I was looking at the angles for drawing a hexagon, and I realized I didn't actually need those, but it was a good refresher anyway. I remember that with a circle, you could just bisect it in however many points you need to, and as long as you plot those along, oh wow, sine and cosine, this is starting to get very technical, I didn't mean for it to. Basically, I remember there's a very simple way for drawing lines to create any sort of a polygon. And so I drew these circles on this larger circle and had it was just at this point animating with the colors, and boom, there's my hexagon. And from there, I solided it up with some white, and from here, looking at it, trying to think, what exactly do I want to do? I start messing around with how those lines for the hexagon are actually being drawn. Start to get a little bit of an aperture feel going here. And one interesting thing is here is I actually crashed the browser that I was using. I had some sort of infinite loop, I believe, and had to sort of realign myself. So here I am. I've split those lines up into a bunch of different pieces and stepped them, but I didn't want what you saw there was sort of it wasn't a solid, or it wasn't a segmented step. And here we go. We're starting to have segmented steps. And so at this point, I'm thinking, all right, got something interesting here. This is fun. I keep playing around with it. Now I start adding in, what is it going to look like when it's animating? So build in a little bit of animation, boilerplate here. Whoa, that's not right. That's also not right. There we go. That's not right either. Also not right. These are fun to look at, but not what I was going for in my head. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. All right. So now we're approaching what we're actually going to be using, and this is pretty great. And that's it for today. We started with this animation, used it to inspire us, and we ended up with this. That's not bad for 30 minutes worth of work, including the time to actually set up the canvas and everything. There are a lot of frameworks that could have abstracted all of that work from all setting that up, but like I said before, it's just part of the rhythm that I like to really get engaged with the code. If you're just starting out, feel free to use any framework that you want. It can be as simple to set up as one line of code, and that'll create your canvas in the right size and give you everything you need. So don't let maybe the amount of code that I ended up putting on the screen worry you. I actually realized while recording this that I'm actually wearing a CodePen shirt today, which is fun and coincidental. Anyway. This animation that we ended up with could go in a lot of different ways. We could reverse that animation, we get rid of that circle, and we could fill in those segments. We could actually pretty easily from here recreate the animation that we started with, but again, I wanted to use it as a jumping off point to try something new. This is quintessentially, for me, creative coding. We started off with just sort of a vague idea of where we wanted to go, and we ended up just walking down the path of technology and creating something interesting without actually knowing what the destiny was. The journey is the destination, or whatever that proverb is. I hope you guys had a good time watching this. I had a great time sort of making it and sharing some of this process with some people who may not have a process of their own. So if this is well received, I'll make more of these. It would be fun to just do these every now and then. So hope you guys have a great time doing your coding. Hit me up if you have any questions, and have fun.